If you're struggling with stress, whether it be for the holidays or just because of all the upheaval that is going on in today's world, or a combination of both, you definitely want to stick around because I want to talk to you about 5 essential oils, which are going to help lower stress, increase happiness, and even balance your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, for over the holidays or for every day. I'm Dr. Sarah, and I'm so excited that you tuned in today. Please make sure that if you want to see the resources or the references, you check the article, which is listed in the video description on whatever platform you are watching this. Okay, so the holidays are here if you're watching this around the time that I'm recording it, which is December 2022. And there has been a lot going on for the past few years, for sure. And there's been a lot of upheaval, a lot of turmoil and trauma that we do not want to just breeze right over. On top of that, sometimes the holidays not are as joyful, let's say, as some people wish they were. There's additional planning, there's more events, there's triggers from various aspects, whether old holidays that weren't so merry or from family members that might just know how to push the right button and send you spiraling. So we want to be gentle with ourselves and find ways that we can subdue the physical and mental havoc that can ensue when excess stress, especially if it's chronic and unrelenting, can do to our mind and our body. And one of my favorite tools, and there are many tools that we can use that are integrative, is aromatherapy, specifically essential oils. But we do know, if you tuned into another one of my videos that I did on holiday stress, that lifestyle practices, nutrition, mind-body practices such as yoga, tai chi, if we look at meditation, mindfulness, all of these different things also can calm the stress response and actually change our cellular programming to, instead of going to inflammatory, stressed out pathways, to more relaxed, more healing pathways in our body and in our biology. But let's specifically focus on what the topic is today at hand. Now, I had already talked about blends of essential oils in a previous video I did, and I'm going to cover 2 blends today. I'm also going to cover 3 essential oils that are wonderful for lowering stress any time of the year. And they've also have some clinical evidence in human trials, whether they're small or a more large grand scale, to actually lower cortisol levels, as well as balance the mood and to enhance nervous system tone. So first, let's look in general, if we're talking about essential oils, how they can specifically calm the brain and body during stress and during this holiday season time, or the holiday havoc, I like to call it. So first of all, there's that combination they have, this dynamic duo of their aroma with their biochemical properties. So specifically, what happens is this combination can hijack at the level of the cause, which is the perception of the mind, instantaneously the stress response. So immediately, through the sense of aroma alone, your body and your mind calm down. Then we have all these chemical constituents within the essential oil, these odorants that actually travel through our body and enhance our cellular processes and help balance the mind, the body, hormones, and especially the nervous system. So let me just I was going to say down regulate. Let me just download in your brain 9 ways that various essential oils have been found to calm the brain and the body. So the first way is they can reduce cortisol. Now, not all oils have clinical validation for these. They may be more mechanistic, but some specific essential oils have been shown clinically to reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. Some have been shown in small clinical trials to modulate brain signals, and to specifically in more mechanistic trials to modulate neurotransmitter signaling pathways. They can shift our brain waves, not just our neurotransmitters. So that's the third way. They can calm our emotions through their aroma. They can enhance cognition through a combination of both their aromatic properties and their chemical composition. They support our cellular physiology. They can work directly on the emotional brain, which I already discussed, and that causes that immediate shift in perception. They can evoke memories. The sense of smell itself evokes memories. And because of those memories, it can change our mood. Hopefully, if it's a good smell, to a good memory. If it's a bad smell, we may want to avoid it. And then finally, it can interact with different odor receptors, these essential oils that we inhale. They're called odorants, and there's odor receptors throughout our whole body. And actually, drugs, a lot of drugs, a high percentage of drugs work on these G protein odorant receptors, and those modulate various pathways in our body that are important for pain, for different systems. So this is why they are one of my favorite ways to support my clients struggling with stress, to support mental health, as well as any behavioral issues that may be at play. Again, they're going to reduce cortisol. They're going to modulate brain signals, their neurotransmitters. They're going to shift our brain waves, calm our emotions, enhance cognition, support cellular physiology, work directly on our emotional brain, and those odor receptors are going to be very happy with those odorants attaching to them, modulating our cellular physiology. So there's your 9 ways. Now let's look at specific essential oils, and I highlighted 3 of my favorites that I actually use in my clinical practice to help my clients with their stress, their emotions, and their sense of overwhelm. And specifically, several of them I know really have been reported to help calm them down and also help to balance their hormones more effectively. So before we start about why we want to lower the cortisol, let me talk to you a little bit about what cortisol is. So I've already said it's a stress hormone, and ongoing stress can cause this rise in cortisol. Eventually, what can happen is that level can get suppressed, and then you run into a whole array of other issues. But for this particular discussion, I'm going to stick to actually looking at how unrelenting demands cause this initial rise in cortisol levels and how we can prevent it by using essential oils. Now, you need cortisol in a good balance in your body. You don't want it too low or too high. It actually helps with inflammatory pathways. It helps regulate energy utilization, blood sugar levels. It's good for blood pressure regulation, for sleep in the wake cycle, and also those sex hormone balances. So it's kind of like Goldilocks in the body. Everything you want just right. You don't want it too high. You don't want it too low. Then you start to get some symptoms. So one of the first oils I love is clary sage oil. I use this a lot in my practice, specifically with geranium, because geranium is great for hormonal issues. But clary sage I use as well with especially symptomatic women related to hormonal fluctuations related to mood. There was one trial, 22 menopausal women in their 50s. They inhaled clary sage essential oil, and they measured cortisol, they measured thyroid stimulating hormone, and they measured the neurotransmitter 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is 5-HTP, serotonin. And what happened is they found that the oil inhalation actually decreased cortisol, it increased serotonin, and it led to an elevated mood and a calmer state. I will use clary sage with a combination of geranium in my perimenopause as well as my postmenopausal women. I've seen good success that they've reported with this combination. I will also use it with some of my younger women, biological women, who report hormonal issues, and if their estrogen levels tend to be lower, on the lower side. Lavender oil, probably one of the most popular and one of the most famous essential oils, probably one that many people are comfortable with because it's a familiar smell. It's known as quote unquote the universal oil, and it's for good reason. It's been shown to benefit the brain, support emotional health, enhance sleep, improve resiliency, and specifically alleviate anxiety. I mean, to the point where Germany has actually formulated it as a prescription for this indication known as Selexin. Now, one study specifically related to lavender and cortisol. Now, remember, they have enough human clinical trials to actually have lavender as a drug for anxiety, but I want to talk about cortisol for a minute. And that's in Germany. That isn't in America. And I'm not diagnosing, treating, or prescribing in America at all. I'm just telling you what the research says on lavender. One 2016 single-blind clinical trial tested how 2 tiny drops of lavender essential oil would actually impact anxiety and blood cortisol levels. And this was through 20 minutes of inhalation with 90 candidates for open heart surgery. So you can imagine how stressed and these patients particularly were. They actually used distilled water as a comparison. So there is a little bit of a caveat there because you could probably tell if you got the lavender or not. What they did find is when they measured cortisol levels and an adapted stress questionnaire as well as anxiety symptoms, that the anxiety scores went down significantly and there was a higher difference in the cortisol decline in the people who inhaled the lavender before and after. Now, if you want more research, you definitely want to check out the article in the video description that accompanies this video in whatever media format you are watching it, because I have a ton of research studies on a link in that article to lavender essential oil, and it is a wonderful essential oil to become familiar with. My third favorite oil besides clary sage and lavender for cortisol is bergamot oil. And bergamot essential oil, or it's affectionately known as BEO in the research, it's another popular essential oil for aiding and calming the mind when the body and mind are overwhelmed with stress. It has clinical studies that has supported its overall positive role in reducing stress, alleviating cardiovascular excitement, improving nervous system tone, and specifically measuring heart rate variability. So many of my quote unquote biohackers out there like that fact about bergamot oil. It also has been shown to decrease anxiety symptoms. And I actually provide a table review of bergamot essential oil that outlines 7 human trials on the topics that I've just discussed as far as what bergamot essential oil can be used for. There was a small study relating to bergamot essential oil and cortisol with 41 biological females. It's probably one of my favorite trials for cortisol. It was a well-done study, and it validated how inhalation of this bergamot oil for 10 minutes improved heart rate variability, cortisol levels, mood, and fatigue. Now, what I often recommend is diffusing bergamot at night with lavender, especially for athletes who are looking for faster recovery from their nervous system because of the heart rate variability, and for my clients who are wired and tired, meaning they want to sleep, but their brains just won't stop and they're physically tired. So that's why I like that combo of bergamot and lavender. So we did 3 essential oils: clary sage, lavender, bergamot, that can help lower cortisol and also calm the mind, body, nervous system tone, and have a bunch of other benefits, including the 9 ways that essential oils calm the brain and body. We've gone through a lot already. Now I want to talk about 2 specific blends that I like to use for this time of year, or in general, just to calm stress and enhance a sense of happiness. The first one is Stress Relief Blend, which is appropriately named, right? And this is named that way because it has the ability to calm the mind and the body and combat the negative ramifications of stress. Now, I actually use a pre-blended essential oil. I love the science of essential oils. I am in no way an aromatherapy blend mixture combination artist. I will just say that up front. I can, calculate doses and look at the science behind them, but that I leave up to the experts in how the different blends and the notes in the essential oils synergize. So you want to look for similar oils. I listed some of the ones that I specifically find helpful. You can find oils in their categories, or you can look for that particular blend. So this oil that I love contains lime, which is a citrus oil that all citrus oils will elevate the mood. Cedarwood, so that's from your sesquiterpene resinous oils. That is great oil that supports sleep and neurological health. We have lavender, which we went over, right? Anxiety, combating those impacts and the detrimental effects of stress. We have copaiba, which is one of another one of my favorite oils. It regulates the endocannabinoid system, which is actually an unsung hero in the medical world that is just getting discovered how this system actually has underlying ways that it regulates all of these different processes in our body, including the pain pathway, as well as brain and other functions. There's Actia oil, and I'm going to Quixos, even I can't say that. It's known as American cinnamon. So if we think of cinnamon, we're going to think about how it regulates blood sugar because of the cinnamaldehyde content. And we know that blood sugar can be impacted by stress, and also stress can impact blood flow to the heart. So it's good to have something to help that aspect there. And then vanilla, which isn't actually a true essential oil, but it smells wonderful. And for a lot of people, that association with that vanilla smell is a positive experience, which is going to help with mood. It also has some mechanistic studies for its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So that is all in a stress relief blend. Again, you can look for familiar essential oils or other names of specific blends for stress with your favorite manufacturer. Most of them will be with essential oils that are calming and helping that response of the fight or flight or flee response when someone is stressed out. Now, Joyful Blend is one of my favorite blends for a lot of biological women that I work for, and all of my clients who are having a problem with feeling self-worth or feeling that they deserve to take better care of themselves. It's also great for promoting more human connection. Just the scent is so uplifting and beautiful. It was one of the key mixtures that I used in my case study that I published recently in Townsend Letter, and specifically using essential oils for anxiety. So you want to check out that peer-reviewed journal for integrative doctors called Townsend Letter and catch my essential oils for anxiety post if you want more information of specifically what I did for Annie. This Joyful Blend contains various essential oils with all different characteristics. I'll go through some of the main properties right now and some of the oils. So bergamot oil, which we talked about, how it reduces cortisol. So it's calming the brain and the nervous system and the cardiovascular system as well. Ylang ylang is also very balancing to the cardiovascular system as well as the nervous system. Rose geranium, I mentioned that when I talked about clary sage for cortisol. And I use that combination of clary sage and rose geranium because it does have an impact, or seems to, on regulating estrogen. Now, it isn't like taking estrogen, but it seems to help regulate and help the body kind of balance that process naturally. Lemon peel also offers a great, refreshing, invigorating scent. Again, it's those citrus oils that are great for boosting mood. Coriander is a seed oil, so it's great for digestive support and it enhances that mind-gut connection. So the gut to the brain, right? So if you have a healthy gut, it's also going to affect your mood. There's tangerine peel, and again, they have another citrus oil that is great for promoting happiness and focus. Jasmine oil, it's one of those actual essential oils when we talked about the 9 ways that impacts our brain waves and helps us with better focus and alertness and feeling more calm. Roman chamomile is probably most famous for its way that it relaxes the mind and supports overall health. Palmarosa oil, just in general, is just overall well-being. And then rose oil, if we think about rose, we think about romance, connection, joy, healthy hormones. So that is a Joyful Blend. Some of my favorite applications to use these essential oils are obviously through inhalation, right? Because you're going to get that little hijack to the stress perception and change that mind and mood instantaneously with the aroma. So you want to inhale. You can also use your cold air diffuser, preferably an atomizer, so you're not destroying the delicate chemical constituents that are in essential oils. You never want to heat good quality essential oils because you destroy their chemical properties. You may get that aromatic impact, but you won't get that duo if you destroy that. And you can also apply it diluted on the wrists, especially the perfume point. So we're talking about the wrists, behind the ears. You want to make sure that you're aware of the sensitivity you have with your particular skin and the oil that you're using. So get a good dilution, typically about 1 drop in about a teaspoon, but you might need more or less. So make sure you know your body. And if you're using citrus oils, don't go out in the sun after you use citrus oils for at least 12 hours because they can cause an uneven skin tone in the sun. They can cause your skin to turn different colors. Don't do what Dr. Sarah did when she went to Italy and slathered lemon all over her legs and could not wear shorts for a year. That would be a bad thing. Okay, so to summarize, using essential oils to decrease stress and heighten holiday happiness. We've listed 9 ways that essential oils can balance the mood and also the mind and the body and relieve stress. We talked about 3 single oils that can lower cortisol as well as have all these other nervous system, cardiovascular supporting properties, right? So we talked about clary sage, we talked about lavender, we talked about bergamot. Then I gave 2 of my favorite blends specifically for promoting happiness and helping with stress, the joy oil blend, as well as a stress relief blend. So I hope that this information was helpful. And if you are new to essential oils, or even if you're a connoisseur, you've learned something that you can benefit for you or for other people that you work with. And I hope that it can help you enjoy the holidays with less worry and more joy. And be sure to, again, check out the resources and references that are provided in the video description of whatever media format you are listening or watching this video in. And also remember that I offer free resources on essential oils, as well as offer classes for both professionals and consumers on their use. And I have a ton of free information and a whole essential oil database on my website. So please take advantage of that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm wishing you all a beautiful holiday season ahead, one with more peace, more joy, less stress, and happier moods. We will talk soon. Take good care of yourself till then.